Alrighty, folks. So we have Sean here. He is a rock star, and we've got a nice interview in store for you guys today. So, Sean, what we'll do is let's start off with yourself. Tell us about what you do, and how long you've been in real estate. Like, just tell us a little bit more about that, and we'll go from there.
Cool. Yeah, I'll take it right from the start when we kind of partnered up here and I started learning more from what you guys were doing. But I was actually just getting out of university when I started seeing your ads, and for me it was a matter of I had my real estate license, but it was parked, right? The only deals I did was with my family if they needed something and they needed me to sell anything. And then I figured I wanted to get into real estate a bit more. And initially I saw your product and I was pretty interested for my own real estate business to see how it would work. And then I also saw the value in online businesses, right? And I thought since I'm already in real estate, I have a background in it. I started pushing the more digital product side and started expanding it to other agents. Meanwhile, still working on it myself to see how the system actually worked and if it worked, right? Because obviously I jumped into it, but I still wasn't sure, is this something that's going to work for me? But when I started doing it, and even just simply the lead gen itself, it started yielding results that I didn't think were possible in real estate. I had like my back end CRM was vetting people out, and from there I kind of saw the value. I was like, okay, like this is something that agents will see the value in. So why not try expanding my outreach and showing others how to do it? Once I mastered the system, I started expanding out more and more and more. And eventually, just this past year, I actually teamed up with a broker, and I think we have about 25 to 30 agents now in the team. And I teamed up with him, and he's been expanding his business via the systems that we've implemented here. And we've been expanding our business in the digital world as well.
Nice, nice. So yeah, you basically using that like digital product to obviously generate cash flow, but then you just get a lot of influence over agents. And you guys are working with an independent brokerage or like a franchise. I'm not sure what it is. And basically using that as like one of the main strategies. Awesome. And like in the beginning though, right? Like did you you already mentioned like you had a little bit of doubts as well that it would work and you started doing it. And like what was like the learning curve for you? Because like a lot of people that come to us, they're like, you know what, like this is great, but like it might take me a long time to get this up and running. It's a lot of, this kind of stuff to learn. So was it pretty straightforward? What was the learning curve like for you particularly?
I think it was very straightforward, and I think I actually would have achieved success a lot earlier if I'd followed exactly what you guys had said. I think the learning curve for me was I went full force, set everything up, but I took a bit too long to try to be a perfectionist and make things perfect before I actually started following what you guys were pretty much saying, right? So your structure, when I look back at it, it was laid out in a way where if I had followed that from the beginning, I might have streamlined my results, and 5, 6 months ago, I would have been at the place I'm at today. But in general, like I think everything was laid out in such a great fashion. And also on top of that, I really like the community aspect of things. The community aspect and having people who are in the same industry, real estate, the online digital world, it really helps motivate you and keep moving you forward as well. But in general, I would say that the biggest thing is also how you guys are updating the system, right? It's not just a plug and play solution that's a one-time thing. I think every week I'm almost seeing the school community. There's new updates coming out. And that's not only expanding my consulting business online, the consultancy we're running, but it's also expanding my real estate business, right? Even alongside consulting and the consultancy we're doing, I'm not fully invested into real estate right now or fully focused, but I'm still bringing people in who are looking to purchase or sell. And all of that I'm sending to other people. And that's honestly something I would have thought I would have been doing at the age of like 30 once I built an established real estate business. But I mean, through you guys, I kind of learned it's more a matter of having the right systems. And if you can bring in people, it's going to reflect. And I did a lot of the stuff I had planned out to do later.
Yeah, I think like most of the people that I know that are like really making the most amount of money in real estate are they have some sort of way where they're, really having leverage on other people's time, right? And obviously like that's through team, that's through a brokerage, even within brokerages, so many different types of brokerage models. They're like the revenue share models with downlines. There's like the models that you guys are with. And at the end of the day, I think one of the things that also is important is like, just the fact that you're able to consistently bring in folks, but also not lose money as well. Because obviously, you guys, for example, right? Like, you guys have a cost per acquisition per each agent, and that's probably north of $1,000, right? So I think that what a lot of people don't understand is like, yeah, they're trying to recruit agents, and they might have a marketing budget every single month of, a few grand, and they might be able to recruit some agents with that marketing budget. But then what happens when, you want to scale that marketing budget? Then you're just going to be bleeding money. So I think with you guys as selling the digital product up front, it offsets the cost, and you actually, bring them in, and that's where your consultancy aspect comes in. And then, you use the consultancy aspect to have a nice little cash flow stream as well, but also use that to build influence and bring the right folks in partnership with you. That's awesome. And so, like, I know obviously you guys are always having, calendars packed, and, now you guys are able to like travel to Dubai and like just like, run this business, without actually being in the field. So I always see your guys' ads, they're awesome. And, you guys are running ads, you get agents are booking with you on your calendar. Like, how many the calls per day are you guys having on average?
So right now, on average, our calendar is booked from 9 to 6 p.m., right? And I think for us right now, like just being completely honest, we're booked fully in the calendar, but show up rates with realtors are on and off. One, because a lot of times people will commit to a time, but they won't actually show up. But it depends on what avenue they come through. If they've signed up themselves and they came through the ad, it's more likely that they're going to show up. I think follow-up plays a big factor, what you're doing in between. But one big thing we notice is schedules are set to change in real estate. So it takes a lot of coordination because there's going to be a lot of missed meetings, a lot of reschedules, and trying to handle that all yourself is tough for the first little bit. Once you get to a point where you're able to start delegating that stuff and you focus on strictly sales, and then you step out of sales and then you start just delegating more and more things, that's where we're getting to the point where we can travel, we can do all these things without actually having to do any physical labor, right? But on top of that, I mean, I'm happy to do it. I love hopping on calls. I love speaking with agents. It's expanded my network more than I could imagine.
Nice, nice. Yeah, so you basically calendar always packed. And yeah, with real estate and show up rates are always going to be a thing. That's why like it's important to have like the systems in place as well to maximize show rates. I think even when it comes to like, like those, just to give clarity and context, like the people that are booking with you, they're seeing your ad, you're usually offering them some sort of business development offer, like, hey, realtors, I will help you grow your business with lead gen appointments, social media, this kind of stuff, which is what agents react to anyways. I mean, that's how you get agents to book with you. Once they're on your calendar, and from there, then you ideally go ahead and sell the thing. But like, for example, if you want to, go ahead and recruit them directly and they don't have money, then you can loop all the way down and be like, hey, look, you can get this all for free if you join our brokerage, right? So that's like another way to, automatically recruit. But obviously, it's always better to get paid up front and then recruit, right? It's like,
Exactly. And I think I mean the whole agent attraction thing as well. That's something that I think we spoke about even before you guys launched the offer. I think when I first got started out, you guys mentioned that you're going to be getting into the area of agent attraction, maybe even starting your own thing. And now I'm seeing it in place and it makes a lot more sense because what we're seeing with our local brokerage here is people are joining just on the fact of value. They're joining because they see that we're actually providing leads, we're doing business, obviously, and it's more of a systematic approach to things. Now, I speak with realtors every single day from all over North America. A lot of them say, "Oh yeah, I'm with this team, that team." At the end of it, a big objection is I think my team has these similar trainings. I don't know if it's right for me. But it really isn't because if the team actually had a sufficient training, a lot of agents would take the time to go through it, right? So I think the biggest issue with these big teams is they have these generic trainings that are built out, but there's no one-to-one approach. With this type of system that we're implementing, it's showing people that, okay, we're building an omnipresence online, and that's where modern day marketing is really headed. Instead of having bus ads up, which still works well for a lot of agents after they built a reputation, when people keep seeing your ad on Facebook, Instagram, they see it on Google sometimes, they correlate real estate with your face. And that's what people have been seeing with us. They're not just seeing us on the consultancy side, they're seeing us on the real estate side. And even agents are getting very interested. I've had agents who wanted to partner up with us. And of course, like I was on the edge of actually getting into a cloud-based brokerage. I was going to join one and start a similar offer. The only reason I led to go down the local path and work with a local realtor here is because he was seeing really good results and it was pretty much a no-brainer offer that he'd given us to come join his team and help us grow his team. But if I was in a cloud-based brokerage, I think it would be the exact same system.
yeah,
You see
process more
digital.
or less the same thing. Yeah, people want to, yeah, it's like you position yourself, you build status and expertise with the ads, and it's much easier as well when you position yourself that way. And I think in the end of the day, that's more of like the brokerage and everything. That's more retention, and it helps as well with compounding on the back end and just more back end revenue. But yeah, I mean, I build sales teams in my own company. This is like a little bit of a side story, but like we used to do commission only sales teams, and we used to actually recruit a lot of salespeople back then. We did outbound sales teams of 50 plus people. And obviously you can have a full-time recruiter, but like even we used to run ads for recruiting, and one of the problems on Indeed and like even Facebook ads, now problem was like every rep costs money to bring in, right? So you don't want to lose money. What if they leave? And then we decided like let's start charging like onboarding fee or a training fee where we're gonna ramp you up, and then they would pay for their own tools. So now we actually weren't losing money. Now not only were we now actually sort of making money from this, not much, but a little bit. But the second thing as well was that those reps actually were better. They stayed because investment does have more commitment, right? So same concept applies for real estate brokerage. It's basically a sales team, a big sales team, right? That's really what it is. So now for you guys, obviously you guys are selling digital products right now. In terms of like monthly revenue sold, like, what do those numbers look like? Like how, what's like the return on ad spend in 30 days? Like what are you guys looking at right now in terms of monthly revenue?
Yeah, so at the start when we started running ads, there's a couple things that went wrong with our ads, but we still were able to bring in a decent amount of traction and booked appointments. But it was targeting the wrong crowd, and we did some digging. Obviously, Jazz helped us a little bit, and we fixed up our ads and launched new copies. And since then, we've closed 3 deals, right, off of, I think we spent roughly around 6K on ads and 3 deals that came out of that. So that equates to roughly 22K in revenue for us, right? So almost a 4x return, right, on our ad spend there. And I think it's only set to get better because I think even with us, I think our ad strategy is only going to get better from here. Overall revenue in terms of month to month, this year, I think we started off the year pretty slow. I mean, we weren't really focused too much, right? Like we both had full-time jobs doing other things as well. And then we really started ramping it up these past 2 months. And over the last 2 months, we've been able to bring in about, I would say, I think almost near 80K revenue over the last 2 months.
Nice. So like 40-ish K a month type of thing, right?
Yeah. And I think that's our new bottom line pretty much.
Yeah.
And just looking to push it to upwards of 100.
Yeah, just more ad spend, more, more appointments in the calendar, right? And then yeah, it's awesome. Like most agents don't even make that much in production, but let alone production. It's also like even in production, they're having to, go out and leave the house, right? You guys are able to do it from home, which is way better, right? And yeah, it makes perfect sense. So um obviously, you guys have also, like now have an influence of people you're consulting, right? So when people buy on from you, I know you guys are not directly, if someone can't afford it, you guys are not directly pushing them to the brokerage or something, right? You guys are just still selling on the front end, and on the back end, it could be like, hey, join Home Life, especially if they're local, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I think with your guys' model, the brokerage, it's you definitely have to recruit and attract locally. I think for downline folks, it's nationally, right? So in the end of the day, like that's the only difference. But for you guys, on the back end, like, once you guys bring on the folks, right, you guys do like coaching calls and you guys are building influence. Like, what does that process sort of look like with the agents where, you're providing value? Like, what does your back end process look like?
Yeah. So at the start, we were actually in like the rabbit hole of just having people coming in and no one was really putting in the work and effort. And we were surprised. We're like, okay, we're collecting money. They paid us up front, but no one's putting in the work. And I think someone in the community, one of the people, they mentioned that even the top fitness program in the world only has a 35% success rate. I think maybe even lower. And
Hmm.
that really started clicking because a lot of people will sign up for things just based on the hype and they won't put in the work. Now we've started pivoting, putting more one-to-one with our teams. Like we're doing one-to-one. We have Slack channels built out with everyone similar to you guys. We kind of took that strategy from you. And that's helping us keep constant communication, pushing people towards that bi-weekly one-to-one calls with every single person we're working with. Because a lot of times people just need the push. People will say, I'm busy, I can't do this. But then you tell them to check their screen time, they have 6, 7 hours a day on their phone.
On like
And that's
Instagram.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things, right? They say, "Oh, I don't have time to set this up. I don't have time to record a video." But at the same time, if you can sit behind your screen for 7 hours, you can take an hour to record something, right? And the biggest issue we saw was people would see so much value in the entire system as a whole, but setting it up would require a push. And that's where these coaching calls, giving them actual value and just making sure we're checking in with them all the time has started improving what they're seeing in return. And we've seen some clients who are doing really, really well that we're working with. And again, it feels really nice to know that you're expanding some business.
Yeah, and you're actually getting paid to do it too. I think like a lot of brokerages are sort of doing that already, but like they're not getting paid enough to do it. So now you're getting paid up front, and then you're already setting it up. And the same system can be put into your brokerage too for agent success rates and everything. But also they know you're helping them get successful. They actually know, like, and trust you. They pay you all as well, and then they can join your brokerage on the back end. Like that's a perfect way of doing it because now you get the win. Like you get paid to attract, and you're bringing the right folks in, right? Um,
I
and
think also like you mentioned one thing before that I want to touch on. Sorry. It was you mentioned there's no skin in the game, right? Even if you charge them when you charge them an onboarding fee, there's skin in the game and they're working to get that return. I think one biggest thing that I've realized after speaking with so many realtors, a lot of them try their best to go work with a team that has the lowest splits, which sounds nice, but I think they're chasing the wrong thing. I don't think they're chasing the education part of it. They're chasing, okay, I'm gonna get 100% of profits from here. But getting three deals from somewhere you have an 80% split or you pay an onboarding fee versus one deal from 100% split, you're still making more from the other company. And I think it's just a matter of they join, they don't have much at risk, so they can keep flowing and keep going however it is. And they don't really feel the need to keep expanding. There's no, again, skin in the game.
exactly, yeah. And like I realized that too with my own sales team. I saw also like one of my mentors back in the day, he would, charge his salespeople. I was like, what? That's crazy. Even like a door-to-door sales organization. These just all lawn care. And this is my mentor's mentor. And they would go ahead and charge the salespeople because he said that that's what, gets people to actually implement. Same thing applies for real estate because in the end of the day, you are running a big sales team. And like even like for example, even if you don't want to, like say for example, right now, I think some people are like, oh, I don't want to sell digital product. Like let's say some people watch this right now, they just only want to recruit. You have the luxury of doing that too, like because your calendar's packed with 9 to 6 a.m. and agent's gonna work with you regardless. Right now, the only difference is how they pay you. They can pay you with a credit card to join your consultancy, or they can pay you with a percentage of their commission to join your brokerage, or a percentage of their revenue to join with the revenue share organization. That's the only difference. In the end of the day, we're bringing agents to come to us on our calendar, right? And that's the most important thing, right? It just makes more economic sense to charge for digital product and then convert them to brokerage on the back end. But yeah, I mean, so have you also seen that as well? Like, if you really wanted to, you could just go ahead and like be like, hey, join the brokerage, I'll give it to you all for free.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think it's a matter of, I mean, one big thing, this isn't just lead generation. And I think any brokerage can come in here and pitch. We'll give you lead generation and people will get sold on a dream. I think after you speak with someone on a call, they actually see the value given that they're willing to put in the work. And if that comes as a result of them joining the team, it's almost at a point where it's a no-brainer for them. I think if I was in a cloud-based brokerage, I think I would have brought in. Honestly, like I might be overestimating it, but I think I could have brought in 25, 30 agents just over the course of this year if I wasn't a cloud-based brokerage, just because you show them so much value up front. And a lot of these people, if anyone's choosing to take a call with you, it's not because they're thriving and they're laid back and they don't need anything. It's because they're missing something. And
Yeah.
no one's gonna take the time out of their day to hop on a call with you if they're fully filled on their calendar and they have nothing else to do. It's only if they're looking for something more. And if you can kind of bridge that gap, there's no reason why they shouldn't be working with you. And again, I see a lot of realtors, again, maybe they might not want to push the digital product side, but a lot of the agents have so much knowledge in the industry and they have so many things to talk about, especially when we hop on the calls. They give us so much value and they pretty much are trying to train us on things, even though
Yeah.
we already know most of the things. And it's just about like taking that information and giving it to an agent who can come into your downline. So
Yeah.
100% I see the value in that.
Even for like the downline stuff too, like I think a lot of agents don't understand, like you can't actually run ads towards the downline. Like, it's you get in legal troubles for that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the only way to really do it is to attract people to your counter somehow, and you have to sell digital product. And like that concept just comes from like, like even my own company, right? Like how we sort of attracted people to our company. Same thing, right? Like we are basically like sort of like a brokerage in a sense, like a consultancy. A brokerage is a consultancy. Brokerage just pays through the revenue and like other ways, right? But yeah, I think that's perfect. And other thing as well is like even like on the sales call level, right? Like a sales call to sell a digital product is so similar to a call to recruit an agent. It's like, hey, where are you at? Where do you want to get to? What's holding you back? What have you tried? Okay, what are you currently doing in a company that you feel like you're not satisfied with? Okay, here's how we can help. You structure your pitch effectively, and at the end you say, look, where do you want to go from here? And then you make the offer. And then if they don't close, then you can have looping, you can have different follow-up structures. Like it's very much the same thing. And that's what I really realized. Like, just looking at this from like a bird's eye view, like I actually heard like recruiting conversations and I heard sales calls, and it was basically the same thing. So it just comes down to, like, what is your goal? And like most people that I know, like, here's what happens to people in our program. They want to come in, they want to recruit and attract agents, right? And then they realize like they're gonna have packed calendars regardless. So they can go ahead and recruit and attract agents, but then they realize they might as well make money on the front end while doing it. Some of them have made hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. Some of them made, tens of thousands of dollars a month and scaling. And then the downline piece and the attraction piece also becomes like an additional benefit. So they just start making money. It really depends upon what the goal is. We have some people though as well that are just like, all right, I don't want to make money with digital product. I'm already a millionaire. Like I just want to recruit people all day. And then we have them literally like they recruit people to the calendar. So they get people to book on the calendar with like a digital product and ads. And then on the conversation with the sales call level, it's like, yeah, look, if you want all this kind of stuff, you have to join my inner circle, which is to join EXP, to join Real Broker, to join LPT Epic. Most of the clients that we have are downline folks. You guys are independent, but like at the end of the day, that's how they do it. So yeah, I mean, right now on the back end, so once like agents are like in your Slack channels, on your consultancy side, you're obviously making money. How is that conversation looking like sort of to, bring them into the brokerage or a team? Because you were mentioning to them earlier, like you were thinking just bringing a team and like getting a split from them, right? Which is a really good revenue driving thing. So how is that conversation looking like?
Yeah, so again, with the team we partnered up with, even the broker there, he uses us as leverage a lot of times to bring people in. He will get us to speak with that person first. And then after they see the value, like first, what he'll do is pitch them on the brokerage if he knows someone's looking to switch teams. And then if they're hesitant or on the edge, right? Because he'll tell them, hey, I have these systems in place, I'm setting this up. If they're hesitant, then we really step in and we hop on that and call and we just show them the product. He doesn't mention anything regarding the brokerage. We just show him what our product looks like, what our services are, right? How we approach the whole consulting side of things and how we're going to expand that said person's business. And then from there, what we do is they have two options. Either they start working with us where we have a split with our broker, or what we do from there is they join the brokerage. And a lot of times they see so much value in the system itself that it's pretty much a no-brainer just to jump the gun and join the team because that same system is provided there. And the way I see it, I think any knowledgeable realtor who knows where the industry is kind of at right now and what actually works will see the value in a system like this. But you do have your fair share of people who aren't willing to really put in the work, right? They want one thing, but they're not willing to put in the work that it takes to get there. So if you come across those certain realtors, them jumping the gun really shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah. And I think as well with this, like you have the luxury of like sort of if let's just say from a team perspective, obviously if I'm on my sales team or if a real estate team, I want to have A players, I want to have rock stars, right? And then this actually allows you, because like even for myself, I've built, sales teams and like it takes like 100 salespeople to find one diamond in the rough. And that diamond in the rough can make you a lot of money. And the same thing applies for real estate teams as well, right? Like, yeah, there could be like a nature versus nurture concept here. It could become a whole philosophy thing. It's like, oh, if I'm gonna find a real estate agent, do I breed them into the killers or do I just hire killers, right? And there's like a fine line. Like I think that, it's ideally to get someone that has killer instincts and turn them into a killer. But even to do that too, like, it takes a lot of people you gotta speak to. And, like if you're trying to build like let's say a real estate team, for example, you want to pick and choose and cherry pick, and then it allows you to do that from like your consultancy. Because like the consultancy approach is like, look, you were the leader, there's hundreds of people in the community, and they're gonna look at you as a leader and you reach out to them and be like, hey, look, like, I love what you're doing and like, I don't really do this for any people, but like I want you to join my real estate team. Like I think you'd be a perfect fit. We can make a lot of money together. and then they're gonna feel honored that you did that, as opposed to like most real estate team leaders, like they're cold calling agents, right? It's not like the same thing. And then that agent has paid you beforehand, they view you as expert, and when they join, they're gonna get even more success, right? That's one way. That's a team level. But like I've also seen it really working for the brokerage level, right? Because the brokerages as well, like some brokerages been a volume game as well, and there's a mixture of both there. But I think this allows you to have the best of both worlds. The volume of agents coming in, also you can cherry pick the top producers, right, for brokerage. So yeah, I think as well, I think what sometimes people don't also realize is like, let's just say for independent brokerages and brokerages in general, like if they can already like if they're already bringing in agents, they can have another revenue stream by charging on the back end, right? Like, hey, we're gonna provide you lead gen and CRM access, and you can charge them like another $97 a month or whatever it is, right? So it adds up. Um, yeah, so what are like your next steps right now in scaling this? Like, what are your plans in terms of A, scaling revenue and like what do you plan to do and remove yourself from everything? And the B, the second part of it is like, how do you also, intend on growing the brokerage and just attracting folks?
Yeah. So I think attracting folks for the brokerage and growing that team, I think it's something that's gonna be a big focus in probably about 9 to 12 months roughly, because we're still continually doing that, but we're building up the consultancy side to a certain point first. And our next steps here, obviously, get to that point where we're doing 100K in revenue, step out just slightly, still want to oversee everything. And even the stepping out process, a lot of agents try to just jump the gun and step out right away, which you could do a killer month at like 40, 50K and then go back down to 15, 10, even 5 if you hire too quick, right? You want to master the system quickly, which I mean, any agent who knows how the game goes, they'll do it pretty quick. So once we're at that point where it's fully mastered and we start seeing the processes coming together, delegate it, have some closers coming in, maybe hire a CEO just to manage some of the stuff. That's where we're going to start going full in on the team here and just build out pretty much. Like I've seen teams grow just based on like pre-construction. They'll run ads based on that. They'll do a couple different things. And the way you guys have set up your system is not running generic ads. It's not just running a marketing campaign on Facebook or Instagram and trying to chase people. It's more of on the attraction side, right? So that's the end goal there as well. And it's not all, it's going to build up our own business where we don't have to go in person, do any showings. We pass it through other agents. And on top of that, people are going to see our omnipresence with consultancy plus real estate, going to attract agents and obviously bring in more business on the consulting side.
Yeah, I think just in general, if you're a person that agents are willing to pay, right, it just positions you as as an expert, right? Like other agents that want to join your team and stuff, they look at you like, oh, the other agents are paying this guy. Like, obviously, like this guy knows what he's doing. So if anyone's brokerage I should join his brokerage. And yeah, I think the same concept applies for downline. Like, I know like I have other interviews with other clients and like they're more in the downline game. It's the same thing. You're going to your, revenue share organization and like, for them it's recruiting nationally. For you guys, it's recruiting locally. But yeah, I mean, in the end of the day, like, the concept of agent attraction, it is attracting agency with value exchange. That's really what it is, right? Um, yeah, so in terms of like two or three more questions here, like, so what is like for you right now, you guys are obviously able to travel and like, I'm assuming you guys are able to not delegate and still hit these big months, right? Like how many hours per week are you guys working in the future? How many hours per week do you intend on working with everything outsourced?
Right now, I think, I mean, to get to the point of $100,000 per month, I don't think that's a goal for a lot of people. But us personally, I'm putting in anywhere from roughly 40 to 60 hours a week, some days more, to be honest. But that's because where my goal line is, I want to build this up to a point where I can start stepping out. Once I'm at a point of stepping out weekly, I want to be at a point where I'm putting only about 20 hours into this, right? I'm just overseeing the process and I have it running for me. And that way I can still focus on real estate. I don't want to do a run around in real estate and chase people. I'm very big on just having people do it because there's people out there who love running around and even people who are getting into the industry now, like new agents they have a lot to learn, right? So if I can teach them and train them on what I picked up on, and they're kind of handling that, it's one going to expand my business and it's going to help them learn everything throughout as well. So that's trying to get to the point where it's about 5 hours, I mean 20 hours per week, but right now it's a little bit more just because I my partner and I both see the potential of where it's headed.
Yeah. Yeah, I realize that too. Like a lot of our clients right now, like they're making so much more money selling online than actual production. They're like, you know what, like I'm gonna just start referring on my production, which is a choice for many people, right? But like, like for example, one of my top guys will like 289, 300K a month. I think last time talking on Instagram, he said 300, 400K a month, and he's fully removed. So like you can get to that point. Obviously, it takes time. I think these numbers are really, really crazy when most people hear about it, but it can be possible. So what are like your tips then for anyone? Like, for example, we always have people coming to our calls that are like, look, I want to join. I don't think, like for me, recruiting attraction is a big priority just yet, but I really want to, do this. So like what is like your words of wisdom for them? And like also just, even in terms of digital product sales, like what is your words of wisdom?
Yeah, honestly, like a couple things I learned on all these calls with realtors is there's people all over North America, and I know you guys have people in Europe and stuff who are also killing it just based on doing this. And there's some people who aren't even agents who are doing it. They've never sold a home in their life, and they're recruiting agents on the system and teaching agents how to run their business without ever doing it. So it all comes down to the fact that others have done it, and we're operating in the same sort of market that all of us are really in right now. And if you're an agent and you truly have the experience and you've done it, there's no real excuse for you to not see success, right? A lot of people might come up with the excuse that it's saturated, but I still think it's a blue ocean. I think it all comes down to your value proposition, and I think everyone has something different to offer, right? And even us, one like I'm big on listening to Alex Hermosi, and I think you mentioned the same thing one time is there's no there's no one system that's gonna get you to the exact goal you're looking at, but it's gonna help you get closer to that. And that's what I tell everyone that we're really partnering up with. And even if I have an agent who's remotely interested in what we're doing and they see that it's going to help them get to the point of 5, 6 deals a month where they're looking to go, then it's obviously a good way to go. You'd rather do that than take a step back and stay where you are, right? You might just want to step into it, right? Getting a return isn't hard as long as you're driven, and it's going to push you in the right path rather than stay stagnant where you are.
Yeah, I love that. And I think a lot of agents like, like they start will say stuff like, oh yeah, like this is great, I don't think I can help agents. And that's exactly, what I want to harp on your point for is like, there are people that I know, for example, that are not even licensed realtors. I mean, the prime example is myself, and I've, helped so many realtors, right? So it's about a skill set. And the thing is like, with all the people in our agent attraction program, like we'll teach them the skill set on how to help agents make more money, and help them get more closings, and we give like the white label course and everything, right? Like that, so that like you have that part solved. So yeah, what's like your tip then for anyone that's on the fence? Like it's wants to pull the trigger, like maybe they are contemplating between selling digital products and doing production, or doing, just doing attraction and like, production. Like what's your words of wisdom for them?
Yeah, I'd say honestly, like I'm someone who to make quick decisions to be honest, but even when I was starting to work with you guys before I pulled the trigger, I was burned 15 to 20K trying to get into the online world. And as I was chasing a passion, right? I was chasing the thought of something that could happen. And I pulled the trigger because again, I was sold on the dream, but like this is actually the first time that I've seen things start clicking. And I don't even think it was a matter of, okay, like you guys just gave the magic. There was still work that I had to put in, right? And you guys had the framework that took me to that spot. But it was a matter of if I didn't take that leap, I don't think I would have been doing even close to what I'm doing right now in terms of revenue, headed on the path that I was at. I always knew in my mind, okay, like I want to be successful. I'm gonna get there. I had no real idea how. And like me personally, after being burned even 15 to 20,000 before, I took the leap and went into it and I don't regret it since then. And I think even with the agents that we speak with right now over sales calls, a lot of their thing is, okay, like this looks really good, but I need to think about it. I think it's gonna work. And it all comes down to you've been doing certain things for X amount of years and you're in the spot you are for a reason. You're hopping on a call with someone if you get to the point of a call, there's something that you want. And if it sparks curiosity in your brain after the sales call, it's almost a no-brainer. Because I think even Jazz was mentioning, you guys put in a lot of money every year into education, right?
Yeah.
People pay, like I went to university, I know you did as well. I paid, I don't even know, 60, 70K for tuition. And I paid a fraction of that to learn more in the online world of education. And I've learned 10x what I learned in university, right? So
Yeah.
it's a matter of just, I think what a lot of agents get obsessed with is I'm paying these people and they're claiming they're going to change my entire life, this and that. And they get fixated on just the results and what they're paying. But no one really focuses on, is this actually going to get me closer to my goal? Which in many cases, if you're hopping on a call, it 100% will.
Yeah, that's a perfect way of putting it. Yeah, man, I really appreciate everything. I think, the insights you shared is super high level. They're really good and like people can really understand them and understand how this whole space works. And you're a prime example of it. So I see you guys crushing it. Appreciate the time and yeah, I'm looking forward to your guys' success.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, bro.
No worries.